Today, I want to rank the last 10 palettes that I've added to my collection. These are all indie brand palettes that I've tried in the last month, maybe not even a month, but there are some really good ones in here. And I usually start this video out saying this was hard because usually it is. But to be honest, this one was really easy. There's some duds in here and some that aren't necessarily duds, but palettes that I just didn't vibe with. But I'm excited to share these with you guys. Some that I think maybe you should skip out on, and some of my favorites. If you are interested, then just keep watching. Welcome back. But if this is your first time here, my name is Heather. I love all things makeup, especially colorful makeup and especially indie brands. Those are my absolute favorite. But if you guys love those things too, I really hope you will subscribe and don't forget to click the little bell so you can be notified of all my future uploads. But let's go ahead and move through these palettes. As I mentioned, I do have 10 here. Some are duds, we'll get to that, but some are fantastic. Starting at number 10, this is a good formula in this palette, but the color story to me just doesn't vibe with what I like. But it is the GLAMLITE Good Guys palette. This palette reminds me of like the basic Crayola crayons. When I look at it, that's all I see is a box of crayons. And while I think the shimmers in here are beautiful and I really love the GLAMLITE mattes, it's just not my vibe. But if you like this color story, I don't think you could go wrong with it. It truly is a great palette. It's just not for me. I will also mention that the packaging, as always, is on point. I love the lenticular motion packaging. I think it's really, really cool. But I don't know. This was just a miss for me. This next one was a huge miss. Now, I love the color story, but this palette is a whole mess. It is The Lost Kingdom by Clarity Cosmetics. I tried, like, this palette came destroyed. I tried repressing a bunch of the shades, and unfortunately, it did not work. When I opened it earlier to do this ranking, there was shadow all in this. So I'm probably going to end up having to throw this away, or else it's going to make a huge mess. I've ruined a t-shirt with this palette and everything already. And what my video that I posted on that palette, the comment section was so terrible about so many terrible experiences people had with customer service. Even one lady said she was bullied, and like majority of the people said that every palette they've ever gotten from them has been broken. And then I've had some people say that they never had that issue. So if you buy from them, just do it with caution, because both of the palettes I picked up from them did come broken. I didn't have a bad customer service experience, but I also mentioned in my first email that I was a content creator, so I don't know if that played into it or not. I'm not like saying it did or anything like that, but I just don't want to recommend something if it's gonna like cause you guys trouble or whatever. But I will say, even though this formula is unstable, clearly, because it can't hold up in shipping, it's like very airy, pillowy. Like there's not enough bonding to it. But I think it has something to do with a few of these shades have like a lot of like glitter in them, which makes them beautiful on the eyes. Not like glitter, but like too much of that, whatever. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but it's like they can't set properly. They don't press right. I don't know, but it is a beautiful formula. The mattes are beautiful. The shimmers are really beautiful. It's just nobody wants to pay for a broken palette, especially the way that cost of living is. And, these indie brands are getting more expensive every day. And, I'm so obsessed with it that I pay it anyways. But I can't lie, like, not long ago, I wouldn't have been able to afford to splurge on one of these palettes, let alone several. But coming in at number 8, we have this beautiful palette from Clarity Cosmetics. It is their MERMAZING, and it is such a gorgeous palette. The other color story is actually my favorite out of the two, and I can tell you if that wouldn't have happened with it all being broken, that palette would have probably ranked a whole lot higher because it is beautiful. But this one only had one broken shade, and I like the formula of this one a lot. It's just the comments under the video with the Lost Kingdom just kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. Plus, that one came broken as well, and because of that, I did rank them a little lower. Coming in at number 7, this is one of my newest palettes, but it is the Melted Mattes by Bella Beauty Bar. I do have a code with them. It is AOML if you guys are interested. But the reason I placed this at this place is because it is an all matte palette, but the neons in this palette are so freaking good. These are the best neons that I've ever tried. Neons are typically like more dry and powdery, but these ones aren't. The formula is really creamy, so they stick to the eye really well. There's no issues with patchiness or anything like that. I've created 4 looks with this now, and I've had so much fun with it. Honestly, I could do without the neutral 2 top rows. I mean, I like the black and even these 2 browns, but the rest I really don't care for too much. But the neons are really, really good. But I typically like to have different textures within my palettes, which is why it ranked low. But if you are into an all matte palette and you are interested in the neons, I think you will freaking fall in love because they're spectacular. The best ones I've ever used. Coming in at number 6 is the Simply Posh Coastal palette. This palette is really, really pretty, but I don't know. It doesn't speak to me as much as the ones that are above it does. I think the formula with Simply Posh is beautiful, but out of the 3 palettes I have from them, this one is probably my least favorite, and that's based only because of the color story. I did have fun creating the looks that I created with this one, but it just doesn't pull me in as much as the Citrus Punch or the Aurora Lights. But I do think the formula is freaking gorgeous. And like I said, I did love the looks that I created with it as well. But it's not my favorite, which is why I placed that one at number 6. Now we are down to my top 5. These are my favorite that I've tried out of these 10. Some of them are freaking incredible, and I'll explain when we get to that. But coming in at number 5, we have the Molten Chromes palette. This palette is freaking gorgeous. I love the shimmer shades that are in here. They are truly special and so fun. But if I'm going to buy a palette, I want different textures. Just like I said about that all matte palette, I just prefer to have a palette that you can create a full look with. But I will say this is freaking gorgeous. And if you're someone who just wants to add a few special shades to your collection with different types of like shimmers, you will love this because you do get duochromes, multichromes, and a holochrome. And honey, she is beautiful. I love the packaging as well. Just personally, I would have preferred for the 2 palettes to be mixed. So coming in at number 4, we have the Odin's Eye SOLMANE 2. And this is the Moonwish palette, and it's beautiful. I love the color story. I love the shimmers as well, but this isn't my favorite color story or palette that I've played with recently. I don't know. There's been some good stuff released like within this 10 palettes, and I had fun with them, and most of them were great quality. I just there's not been a lot lately that's been like that shock, like that awe, the palette that just makes you lose your freaking mind. But I have had one at least, so we will get to that. But I do think this palette is really beautiful. I love the artwork on the packaging, and I think the formulas within here are nice. It's just not my like favorite color story, but it is beautiful. So this was a really good one, and it was a part of Unearthly Cosmetics mini mystery box. This is the Night Terror collection, and I recommend this whole collection. But this is like the Unearthly Cosmetics Dreamer palettes kid sister, and the two pairs so beautifully together. But this palette was really fun. You could get so many different looks out of this, even though it's just a 9 pan. It's truly beautiful, and the shimmers are so gorgeous as well. I just had so much fun with this one, and it probably goes without saying, but I do have videos on all of these palettes except for one, and we will get to that. So, coming in at number 2, we have the KLARITY Cosmetics Oceano palette, and while I will say you will get kick up in the pan with these, like more than you might be used to, and I would recommend doing your eyes first because I did get fallout as well. But these mattes blend like a freaking dream. They are pigmented and beautiful, and I love these shimmers. This palette just blew me away. I love the looks that I created with it. I had so much fun. But if you decide to pick it up, I would just keep in mind about the fallout and stuff, and make sure that you're okay with that before you buy. But I think this palette is beautiful. This shade right here, it's truly gorgeous. It's one of a kind. I just had so much fun with it. It's one of my favorites. I mean, that's a given out of this bunch. And I also forgot to mention, I do have a code with Unearthly as well. It's the same. It's AOML if you're interested. But coming in at number 1, this palette is the freaking best. I've had so much fun with this, and this is the only one I don't have a video with yet, but hopefully that will be coming soon. But it is the Bella Beauty Bar Recently De-Influenced. I picked this up way late. It released last year for Halloween, and I lost my mind when I missed out on it. But I am so freaking glad that they restocked it, because this palette is so spectacular, so fun. I love Bella Beauty Bar. That's why I have a code with them. They are one of my top favorite brands. They are so incredible. I love their color stories, but I think this is my new Bella Beauty Bar my favorite palette with them. It is so freaking gorgeous. I know when like it launched with the Basic Witch, which I will show you in case you're not familiar. But it launched shortly after this one, and I didn't know that they were going to launch a second palette. And honestly, I fell so in love with the brand after I tried this one, and I thought it would be my favorite out of the two, but it's not. It's definitely this one. I love like these reds and like really warm shades mixed with the greens and the purple. It's just so fun. There's so many cool looks you could create with it. I know I've created a ton off of camera. I highly, highly, highly recommend that one. It is so freaking good. So that is it. Those are all of the palettes that I have tried recently. Now, I've already started my new stack, and there's some really good stuff coming up. And I have a feeling that video is going to be a lot harder than this one. But you guys are going to have to let me know if you picked any of these up and what else you picked up this month. How would you rank your palettes? I would love to hear from you. I need to know if I missed out on anything. I always appreciate your guys' recommendations. Some of my absolute favorite products have come from you guys down below in the comments. But also, leave down below the last 4 emojis that you have used if you watched this video all the way to the end. I look forward to see who the people are that finished the video. But thank you guys so much for being here, for being a part of my community and this journey with me. It's so fun. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And until next time, bye.